Welcome to the Morning DNA for September 7th, 2020. We're going to see what this morning is made of. I'm Aaron Dicer. I'm the man in a single black shirt. She is Danae Hughes, the woman of a million distractions, and we're going to get right into it. Danae, I have an admission to make, and it looks like you do too. There's something on your mind, I can tell, but you know how there's a start broadcast button?
Yeah.
I almost went to push that button after the intro. I was like, okay, now we start the Well, it's the end broadcast button now because we're already I almost ended the broadcast at the end of the
Before we
intro.
got started.
Before we got started.
Great.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
everybody, come hang out with us live. Bye.
Yes. Here's
We
a
just
wonderful
tweeted.
2-minute intro or 4-minute intro or whatever. Yeah.
I was really worried because I thought you could hear me, and I've been making quite a ruckus. I've been dropping things. It's been chaotic, and so then I started laughing really loud because I thought I was stupid funny, and then then I got uncomfortable because I'm like, oh, they can hear me laughing, and so then I laughed even more.
No, I think you're good to go.
I was on the floor picking stuff up, and I thought this broadcast is going to start, and I'm not even going to be up there. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Thank you to all those saying good morning. We just saw Lauren, Nick, Elizabeth, Daniel, Stephen, Mariella, all of you. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
And gals.
And many others who have not commented good morning. Good morning to you as well.
T-Train?
T-Train says, happy Labor Day, guys. Yeah, happy Labor Day to all. We may be chatting about that a little bit later. Kind of see what's going on with your Labor Day shenanigans.
Man, my day started off wonderfully. I had Basic 4 cereal this morning.
Oh, nice.
I was so excited. We talked about it on our other podcast, Behind the Sins, where we discussed our favorite cereals, rather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I all of a sudden had this Basic 4 memory. And then when we went shopping over the weekend, I found it. I actually told Justin, my husband, I'm going to look for Basic 4. And he said, good luck. I don't think they make it anymore.
Yeah, they do. Isn't it in all the stores? I thought it was in all the stores.
Discouraged. I didn't know because it'd been so long since I'd looked for it. So, of course, back in the day, it used to be the adult cereal was on the very top. So I scanned all on the top, and then I went down, and I just kept going. And it was the very bottom, one designated spot. Like Reese's cereal or whatever has 17 spots. It's like this massive chunk of orange or yellow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Cheerios is like 2 sections. Basic 4 had one little spot, like one little pixel
nice
on the entire aisle. I was so excited. This morning, I screamed as I was in the kitchen. I was like, it's so good. And Justin was like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I'm just really happy to have this cereal. It's been
great.
It's been wonderful.
It's nice to have something you love. I, of course, had my Raisin Nut brand, which, if you don't know, is raisin, nuts, and bran. And it is delicious.
Yeah.
It's delicious. It's a little bit more than that. The raisins have like the nutty, like sugary coating on them, which is kind of nice too. So
I posted on my Instagram, which is at Danae Says, if you guys want to follow, to find out about favorite breakfast cereals. And someone said that they were told, like theirs was Raisin Bran, but that their dad told them that it had bugs in it.
Well, all food is allowed to have a certain amount of insect in it. That is yes, no, that is true.
I mean, yes,
that is true.
But no,
that is absolutely true.
Skip.
Peanut butter specifically has a very liberal allotment for bug parts, and it's a beautiful thing. Nick says it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch or bust for me, aka crack. Cinnamon Toast Crack. Yeah,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is freaking delicious.
Cinnamon Toast Crack, by the way, is what I had when I accidentally sat on my cinnamon toast. So
wow.
So you ready to shoe a dough? You ready to get into this?
Yeah, let's show it down. There's so much to talk about. We're definitely going to go over 30 minutes today. 100%.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You're certain of this.
There's no way that we're not. There's just no way. I want to tell you about I want to give you a plant update.
All right.
I want to talk to you about last week having quarantine, being freed from quarantine. Like, there's so much we didn't get to do. Didn't get to talk about.
Hey, listen, it's our show. We can do what we want. I do remember having a conversation about, the idea of each of us bring a topic, but, the The woman of a million distractions is going to sometimes broaden that, I'm sure. So talk about what you want to talk about. What's like
That's
most
true.
important?
That's
What
true.
do you?
Well, no, you're right. Maybe we can try to, go live again because we're going live Mondays and some days. So today doesn't have to be the only day to tell you everything. Maybe I can save my plant update for another day.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because we've got other days that you can, talk about this stuff, and being in the morning show game as you have been before.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to save your show prep if it's evergreen. You never know when it's going to come in.
I'll just write it in this book of rejected conversations.
It's not rejected. I sat here and I told you, talk about as much as you want. It's our show. We can do whatever you want.
My pen's not working.
Well, let's do the DNA and you. We will start with Danae, the D. What do you want to talk about this morning, Danae?
Well, I wanted to talk about this plant update.
That's fine.
Well, I have a question before I tell you. Is it the topic that's the official DNA topic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that means that I'm also not talking about... Okay, hold on a second. Okay. I'm just making a note so I don't forget.
No, that's good. That's good.
Now,
I have notes like that listed on a digital prep sheet that I adjust every once in a while, and then I pick one for the morning. And
that's cool. I put them in random notebooks and forget where I have them.
Hey, whatever works, right? Show prep, whatever works.
Is it working? Stay tuned. So my husband and I made a random purchase over the weekend. And we've been
now, are you
going to
tell us what this purchase is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know what I should do? I'm going to do something like, I don't know. Well, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to like make it happen quickly or if it's going to take up too much time.
Danae
I think I can do this.
Okay.
Okay.
Danae's getting ready to share a screen.
My screen. Yep. And I'm going to share my screen by pushing these buttons.
One of the wonderful things about Danae during a live show is if she has to pass time doing something that she wasn't prepared to do, she likes to sing it. She just likes to sing it. So you get a concert every time.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah. You want me to add it?
Yeah. So
look at that.
So this is the purchase that we made. You can see me talking. I just have it muted though. It's kind of funny whenever you're talking and the mask just kind of like, look at that. It looks like I'm a puppet. Anyhow, we came across this swingy thingy, and my husband.
Is that what it's called? Is it called the swingy thingy? Please?
I don't know what it's called.
It is now.
It's called a big and tall reclining glider, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you don't have to keep showing it over and over again. I'm sure the point has been. But yeah, so we came across that. My husband is 6'5", so he doesn't usually sit into a seat and is able to recline and have his feet up and feel comfortable. And so immediately he was you saw him, he was like and just asleep. Now I guess it does make, I should say we've had a very long 10 days, and so we were ready to just relax. And so we literally sat in the lawn and garden section for like 5 minutes in this thing, just swinging, just doing nothing. It was blissful. It was wonderful. I was looking at the plants around us, just thinking if I wanted to take home another plant or not. He's just reclined, and it was on sale. And so it was normally $300. And
on sale for $297. Guys, they got a deal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. How did you know? Did you go to the same store?
Listen, I just know your predilection for $3 sales. I just,
Dude, you cannot pass down a $3 sale. There's a law in this household. Anyway,
was it $250? $200? Where was it?
It was like $260.
Nice.
So we went home, we measured our space, we did some research and looked at other options, and then we couldn't find anything that was like it, where it was 2 individual seats, that it had reclined, that it was tall, or that it wasn't over $1,000. So we go back, and they had a small pallet of 10. And when we got back to the store, there was 1 left.
Oh, wow.
And we were only gone for maybe an hour and a half.
Well, that's a good sign, right?
So I thought so, but it was not on our list. Now, we have a list of items that we want to purchase for our home. Now that we live in a new house, we've got some things we want to do, and they're listed in order of importance. Lawn furniture.
Not on the list.
Not on the list anywhere, but we had put something like back porch, just to kind of address the back porch, way down at the bottom of the list. And there wasn't even a budget attached to it. Like, we hope to
Right.
spend around $200 to liven up the back porch.
Uh-huh.
So we've done this so many times since we moved in. I just thought it'd be an interesting topic of conversation. Like, obviously we're in charge of our own finances and we get to make that decision, but how often does it happen that we come across something that's on sale and then justify that purchase?
Yeah. Yeah, I do that with technology a lot. Although I think we're pretty good with kind of planning it out and planning ahead. But this weekend we had somebody drop a phone. I'm not going to name who. And so
Oh,
it's
I'm gonna
kinda,
guess.
No, you're not.
Number 4.
And so we found ourselves, justifying a purchase with the justification of kind of need to communicate with you.
Right.
So
Now, did
so
you do like a really inexpensive
yes,
replacement?
yes, we always do inexpensive replacements. That's kind of the deal. If you break your phone, that's fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's
Right.
not fine. But
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Quit it.
But if it happens, it is an inexpensive replacement until the next time. And
Yeah.
we started a year ago with owning our phones outright. We don't do any of the plans. I hate being tied to a plan because a lot of times they'll lock you in with a, hey, buy one get one free. Well, the get one free if you don't pay for it over the course of 2 years. Like if you try to pay it off early, you pay full price kind of thing. So it's just
So dumb.
yeah. So we've just owned our phones outright, and that's actually not bad because I found a really nice phone for $99. Like really nice touchscreen smartphone, does everything you would ever want it to do. 128 gigs of internal memory. Like it's a really nice phone. And
There you go.
So yeah.
Maybe that's the answer.
So I don't know if $99 is a big purchase. It is for us, but yeah, it was definitely something we could justify pretty early, easily.
We were like, oh, we have it. Oh, we have the money. We were going to do something else, but we'll just shift this around. And we did like the shifting kind of thing. It was a really weird one. It was a weird one to do. And then we assembled this sucker, which is a whole other topic, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway.
Go for it.
I want to read what Lauren had to say.
She said, if I'm going to spend that amount of money, if I want it, I have to impulse buy it, or I'll think about it too much and never buy it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you sound kind of a paralysis of analysis kind of thing. Like if you start thinking about it, you just never come to a decision.
I'm very similar, but it was really interesting because, when he went back and he had the last one and we had just realized and had thought about it and kind of weighed the pros and cons, we're like, all right, so let's just do it. And then we're done with it. We came back to the house. We assembled it. Oh my God. We usually get into those like cliche, not fights, but just putting together furniture and stuff for Justin
Sure.
and I. We're very different people. Justin
There are press points in marriage that create tension. Putting stuff together is definitely one of them.
It is.
Doing the budget is another one of them.
Yes.
Going on trips, another one of them. They're
Putting
just
the
these
fitted sheet on the bed. Why? Why is that so like angry?
Thursdays, just one of them. No, I don't know.
Breakfast in general. No.
That's right.
We got into our rhythm. I don't know if it's because we've been married for 10 years now, but it was like I knew exactly what I had to do. I had to get to the instruction manual first. I had to absorb the information and then start kind of like directing the man around, which was great. And he was like super okay with it. He was great. He was like, yeah, just tell me what to do. And I was like, grab that thing, do that stuff. And it was one of those where, I mean, like you saw the swing, there were a lot of directions and it came with 3 like packets of just stuff.
Yeah.
Nuts, bolts, washers, different sizes or whatever. And then it had the instructions. And on page 1, it listed all the things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 22 or however many there were. And like number 1 was whatever rod. Number 2 was whatever. So, but the packages were not numbered the same as the directions. So the very first thing we had to do was figure out what anything was and then take a Sharpie and actually write the number of what
So
it was
crazy.
crazy. And then we were on the back porch and we put that thing together. So this swing is now this cool like representation of actually like
A project.
getting along. We actually did it, and we're really proud of ourselves too.
So he was on board with the roles. Like
Super.
you knew the
Yeah.
roles that you two had to play, and he was like, "Yes, I agree. You do this, and I'll do
I
this,"
have-
and that's fun. That's
I
nice.
have these tiny little, nimble fingers, and he's got these big man mitts,
Oh, I'm aware of man mitts.
Yeah.
I'm totally
So
aware.
getting into these little places and then threading the little bolts and nuts together is really easy for me. And then he just would follow up behind me and then just crank them down to where they're really, solid. So anyways, it was a fun project.
Nice.
But I will say this morning, we went on the porch. He wants to go sit on the swing this morning, and the morning sun is just beaming on it like hell. Like it's just like hot and the sun is glaring.
It's like burning the skin off of
like,
you.
Like in the movies with like a vampire where you sit in it and you just like turn into these.
Perhaps it's meant to be shaded. Perhaps it is meant to be shaded.
So now we're like, well, I guess we're going to have to get shades for the porch. That's not on the list.
No, that indeed is what happens. Somebody was saying, and I think I had the comment up, the PS5 is coming out in a few months, and I know that's probably one your husband is looking at to justify as well. I think
100%.
I have children who are trying to figure out how they can work that into their Christmas budget somehow. But yeah, that's one of those where, again, it's not just the PS5. It's the $70 games. It's the the extra controllers. It's the this.
Right?
It's the that. Everything has the paraphernalia.
It's
that
the
has
give
to
a
come
mouse a
along with
cookie
it.
thing.
Yes.
But in this case, it's like, okay, now we need to have porch shades. Porch shades are like $600.
There you go. See,
Ugh.
you thought the seat was $260. Turns out it's more like $1,000.
Dang.
Elizabeth says, most of the time I will talk myself out of a big purchase until I justify that I need to do it. That is me. Elizabeth is kind of on the same page as me. I have this beautiful television that we got this last year. That had been in my mind for at least
Ever?
2 years. Yeah, forever. And I'd been prepping and planning and figuring out which the best TV was, doing research, how future-proof it was with technology. That's a big thing for me. If something's going to come out the next month that is like the better version, I want to know about that.
Yeah.
And all the articles said, no, they're not going to adjust this screen for probably 3 or 4 more years. They're not going to make an adjustment on it. So I was like, okay, I know when the time is. Here's how I save the money. That's just kind of how my brain operates. And that way I'm able to make bigger purchases and buy the better stuff because I'm able to save for it. So
Hey, that's kind of like what Nick is talking about. Nick said we've been saving up for laminated floors for 8 years.
There you go. Yeah.
That's amazing. Every time we get close to our goal, an appliance breaks down. So we have a new washer, dryer, fridge, dishwasher, and water heater. But this year is our year.
No, I feel that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Now there is something I'm really terrible at waiting. I love instant gratification, but that's probably not a surprise. However, I've had a car for 11 years and I've been waiting forever to be able to get another car. And then this year is my year. It's the one thing I think I've waited the most time for. And it's been three solid years because after having Iris, it's like my little Toyota Yaris is great. We love this car, but it does make family tripping a little bit hard because it's like a clown car. It's just this tiny little thing. So in 2 weeks, I get to finally get a new car. Well, new
if
to me
only
car.
you had like a friend that you would want to sell that old clown car to
Ooh.
that with all the fast food remnants.
Oh, you're right. I should call Shannon. You're right.
You should call Shannon. She would love that. All right, so let's move on.
What's your topic?
The A topic, the DNA, and we will get to you. So be prepping your topic or question for us.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Not necessarily anything answered, but anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
A topic is Happy Labor Day. What's been your best/worst job? Not your job that's both best and worst, which we actually have an answer to that one. But no, what's been your best job that you've ever had or your worst job that you have ever had? For me, you think of like best, worst, both is probably Christian radio. There were so many things I loved about it. It was amazing. And there was also so much about it that was constricting and traumatic. Being a youth pastor was kind of the same way for me. There was so much I loved about it, but there was also a lot that's traumatic when, working within the church structure and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've had a couple best worsts jobs as far as that is concerned. My best job, I'm living it. I'm living my best life right now. All the different pieces of what I get to do are so much fun, and the fact that it also puts food on the table is pretty incredible. So yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Danae?
So kind of lame but same. My current job is something that I'm really enjoying, but it's different in a way because it's like a different set of skills than I've ever really like consistently
Mm-hmm.
worked on. So it's also been really hard. So one of the best jobs I ever had that was just a freaking no-brainer for Danae was when I managed a bead store. And I got to like
Yes.
every day I got to go into this little shop where all the walls were lined with the slatted walls, and then they had those little hooks in them, and there were beads that were hanging from them. There's like little tiny glass beads that you could take and you could sew together in these beautiful patterns.
Mm-hmm.
I was responsible for some of that. Um, there were like strands of beads, coral and glass, and like just beautiful like agate and turquoise, and just, I mean, God, everything was just so bright
Yeah,
and colorful.
agate. Love that agate.
Moss agate and all kinds of things. There's just
Is
all
this a
kinds
real?
of agate.
Is moss agate a real thing?
Yeah.
I
I'll pull up
don't
a
know
picture.
stones. Is agate a stone? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It sounds like the sound cats make when they have a hairball. So I just don't know. I didn't know if you were making it up or if it was actually jewelry of some sort.
You are not allowed to be somebody who sells beads.
No, bead store would not be my best job whatsoever. Any job where I have to maintain any type of social presence with other human beings who I don't know is a bad idea for me. It's not that I'm socially awkward. It's just that I'm an introvert. And so it is
Well, so was my boss.
it is very difficult for me to be in any kind of service industry because I can put it on, but it will take me out. Like
Well, but you
I will be
also-
so exhausted every day.
And that's if you like try to emote. If you're just your normal natural self,
Nobody,
you can make people kind of uncomfortable
yeah,
because you can come off like you just don't care.
yeah. I have resting jerk face. For
You
sure.
do. And
I
so
definitely do.
this bead store, my boss was the exact same way. Super, super introverted.
Mhm.
And she should not have owned a bead store. And she was offensive to customers.
Purposefully.
I mean, just she didn't care. She didn't
Yeah.
care. It's just her personality. Before this, she was a assistant surgeon, like in surgery floor at the hospital. She was like the surgeon nurse, so she made sure that everything was exactly where it needed to be. So the store was like pristine, clean,
Mhm.
organized,
Mhm.
OCD.
Mhm.
Whereas like most bead stores, it's just like this chaotic cave of like
It's
gorgeous
basically
chaos.
like a play place ball pit of beads.
Oh my
You
gosh,
just dive
yes.
in and find what you want.
I was hired at another bead store after this one, and it was that way. Every nook and cranny was just crammed with different
You open the
things,
door to come in and beads pour out. It's just
which is
like
a dream. And I loved it. I got to teach classes, and people would bring their jewelry in and ask if I could help fix it. And so I kind of got that tinker mind of mine. By the way, I pulled up a picture of a moss agate if you want to throw it up.
Oh, nice. It's a real thing, and it doesn't look at all like well, maybe it does look a little bit like a cat puked up a hairball. Never mind. If your cat ever goes must, then that may be what you see. You don't know.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
I had a great time at that job. I was so bummed whenever I left that job. So many wonderful things happened at that job. But my
Yeah.
worst job ever was call center, which was opposite of me, although I did learn a lot. I mean, it's weird because I went straight from that onto the radio pretty much, which was unexpected.
Mhm.
And I didn't think about it at the time. But talking on the phone for 8 hours a day really prepares your voice
Sure does.
to do, communication like we did for all those years. So maybe that was part of it. But that job was draining and not like me and just a grind, and it was hard to do
That's
for sure.
that is it, right? That is the trick, is figuring out how to support you, your family, with something that not only you're good at, but that is, right in your comfort zone. Like, the trick is making work not feel like work. And I know not everybody gets to experience that, but when you do get to experience it, there's a real comfort and peace there where it's like, and then you work harder. That's what I've noticed. When I'm in jobs that are frictionless, that just meet what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about, I work harder because it's easier to do. There's less friction there. So yeah, that's a good feeling when you have that. The least like that, the most friction-full job I ever had was stocking shelves at Target.
Oh,
Man, I hated that. That was one of my first jobs. I cannot wear khaki pants and a red shirt to this day.
triggering.
It's trauma just seeing people wearing red shirts and
Yeah.
khaki pants. So yeah, stocking, because I would get there way early to unload the truck. You'd sort stuff into the different, stuff, I said backstage.
Bins.
Backstage.
Backstage. Backstage. It works.
Sure, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
The storage.
I'm an artist.
The
Yes, the storage area, whatever it is back there. Anyhow, I would put stuff back there. I was in charge of at least the electronics section, so it was at least stuff I loved. But that doesn't matter. I'm handling boxes. I'm just putting boxes on shelves and
Yeah.
moving inventory, and I think I did a good job. I just hated it, like hated it, and eventually I had to quit. It was so draining on my soul. Like, it felt like I was leaving pieces of my soul at work every day, and it was just like, ugh.
That's how I felt. I actually would go home for the first year, and almost every single night I would just cry. Which, no, at the time I was really depressed. I had some really horrible life stuff going on that led to me having to get this grind job and leave the things I love to do. So there's a lot of emotion there. But I had, at that point in my life, not ever worked at a job I didn't like to go to, where I had to. Like, I had to make money. I had to go and do something.
Sure.
And this was not only what was available, but it helped me to pay my bills, because I'm sure everyone can relate that, yeah, you can maybe go get a job that pays you $8 an hour, but if your bills don't match that, you still have to find a way to either get two jobs or get a job that does all of what you need.
Yeah.
And sometimes those all of what you need jobs that have insurance and do the things you need are just not what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's hard to decide to do something you don't want to do, knowing it's the best choice.
And I want to live in a
waiting
world
every day to get out,
Yeah, I want to live in a world where we're all able to find frictionless work, right?
Right.
And I think we can work our way there. I am an optimist. I believe that. But for a lot of people, that's just not life. And I have so much respect and admiration for people who go to work and they work and, and to make ends meet. And it's great stuff. Some great comments from you. Slab says, best job, stay-at-home dad for 5 years.
Woohoo!
That is a great job.
That's an awesome
Jeremiah
job.
says, best job, ice rink. Worst job, dealing with the customers at the ice rink. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. Slab says, worst job was night stalker at Walmart. I hope he means stalker.
STOCK.
Yeah.
Not STALK.
Listen,
right?
if Walmart's hiring stalkers, that's a whole different thing. Lasted one shift, only job I've ever walked away from. Boy,
We
I hear you
tease
there.
because we care.
We do. Nick says, I was a Target Electronics team leader for years, and that was probably one of the best and worst jobs ever. Were you fast, fun, and friendly, Aaron?
Oh, no. Well, we've lost Aaron.
Move it. All right, it's off the
You know
screen.
how there's those trigger moments? You're talking about khaki and red shirt.
Yeah.
For me, there's this particular ding sound for that next call coming in for ExpediaHotels.com.
You know, like the exact. It's not the same as the CinemaSins sting, is it?
No.
That would be torturous.
No, it's not. Thank God.
Elizabeth says, the best job I had was when I was second in command on my college newspaper.
Ooh, fun.
It's a lot of work, but it was satisfying. That sounds like
awesome.
a lot of fun. Lollipop Shoes says, I have a friend who spent a summer as a lock keeper.
What is that?
What's a
It's like
lock?
the Matrix?
keeper of the locks?
Ooh.
Is that somebody who, like, are you talking like boats? Like the boats that come in the
Or-
locks and the water rises?
Or is
and
it like one of those people that goes and unlocks doors and then they keep all those locks?
See, that's the thing. If it was a locksmith, I would understand. Lock keeper is very mysterious. Very mysterious.
Oh no, Slab.
Didn't
no,
do much
Slab.
stalking, was more stalking. All right, well, fair enough.
Okay, well,
Listen,
congratulations.
whatever works. I was right. Lock, it's working canal gates. I was right. It's a boat.
Oh, cool.
Basically sat and read a book and waited for boats. That sounds like an amazing job, actually. Don't have to
That
deal with
does.
people. Just, wave the boats through when it's time.
Although now with smartphones, it would be like just playing video games.
Skidarwa from Twitter says, or Periscope says, best job Army Sergeant, totally frictionless. I can't tell if there's sarcasm there.
There's got to be sarcasm there. Also, I love your picture of a puppy. What a cute doggo.
Puppers.
Oh my gosh. Quick side note. I got new collars for my puppies. I did research for an hour on...
No sarcasm, he says. So just so you know.
Oh,
good.
That's cool.
I'm glad. That's awesome.
Maybe because everybody's doing their job and they've all like fallen in line.
Well, but it's good to remember because you and I thought Army Sergeant, that would be horrible. Like, I would hate that.
Oh my God.
And that's a great reminder, is that is one of the beautiful things about how different we all are, is that we do have different jobs that are frictionless. And so finding where that matches up is a beautiful thing.
When I worked at a pizza joint for a while, next door was a military recruit office, and they'd come over for pizza sometimes and try to recruit us because they were like low on quota or whatever.
Yeah.
And the big joke was them trying to recruit me into the military.
Did you ever consider it?
No, I was like, I told it was a great conversation. Every time they'd come in, they'd be like, okay, we thought about what you said last time. Here's our pitch. And I'm like, okay, but here's my question. Can I say no whenever I want? And they're like, no. And I said, well, then I'm not interested.
Is there structure of any sort?
Do I have a choice?
Are there expectations?
Sounds cool. You're going to pay for college, but what if I don't want to go to college?
Right.
Can I just keep the money? No.
Exactly.
Okay, then no.
It is time for the you part of DNA and You. What is that topic you want to talk about? What is that question that you have? Anything goes. We'd love to hear it. Skidorwa says, I mean, you could say no.
That was the joke. We had conversation over pizza, and it was literally like, well, you can say no, but there's consequences for that. I was like, okay, but what if I don't want consequences? What if I don't want to get in trouble and I just want to be able to say no? And they're like, well, then you have to be in leadership. Which you can do if you just apply yourself.
If you're willing not to say no for a while, you would be so good at push-ups, Skidorwa says. Yeah,
I would have. These are my little lack of push-up arms. But I feel
guns.
like, I mean, they're kind of squishy now. But like, I feel like they're really strong because I do something called toddler lifts, and I'm getting pretty buff again. I used to do push-ups all the time when I was in martial arts, though, and I was real good at push-ups. I did knuckle push-ups and all kinds of stuff.
Those toddler lifts, they will they will put your back out of joint if you're not careful, like how you're holding the toddler.
I'm getting a little chunky now, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm a mama.
Let's see. Steven says, how did you guys meet and what did you guys first think of the other person? I think Danae gets to go first on this one.
So I was told many, many, many times over many, many, many years that I would be great in radio. And so to shut everybody up, I called a radio station and then accidentally got a job. So they were right. I literally called a radio station and was just like, hey, people say I'd be good at this. I'm tired of hearing it. So I just wanted to call. And for whatever reason, the program director who I was talking to on the phone said, why don't you come in for an interview? And I was like, okie dokie. And so I went in and met Aaron, who was sitting at a seat, and he just...
Sitting at a seat. This is what I do.
He was over in his desk, surrounded by Pixar paraphernalia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey. And I was like, hey. That's the first time I remember seeing Aaron. Was he was just sitting at his desk. And I went for this interview. It was very awkward. That's a story for another day. It was maybe I should write that down in my book. Most awkward interview ever. Let me write that down because that's a good story.
Sure, sure. I can't imagine who this person you're talking about that would be surrounded by Pixar paraphernalia. I don't understand who that person would be that might have Pixar paraphernalia.
You
around
haven't
them.
changed much. But actually, you have changed a lot.
I have changed a lot. Yes, indeed, I have.
Yeah. So my
We all
first
do,
impression
hopefully.
of Aaron, though, was just like he was just a guy that worked at the radio station. I really didn't even understand much about radio shows, or anything like that. But he was very reserved. I will say he was very reserved. He didn't emote a lot. He didn't smile a lot. He was just very straightforward, and that has changed a lot over the years too.
Yeah, it has. My memory is that I was really, really trying and hoping to find somebody that could partner with me on the morning show because I was doing a solo morning show after having done a partner morning show for many, many years. It's a very different animal going solo than it is with somebody to bounce off of. And I was figuring it out, and I can do solo, but I really wanted somebody in the studio to play off of that kind of thing. And that's a tricky thing. That chemistry, that whole thing, it's a really, you can't
fake it.
You can't fake it. You really can't. You can try, and I tried with others. But it is something that when it snaps, you can feel it. If you think of some of the the best, like Regis and Kelly or Kathy Lee or whatever, like there's something that happens where those two people, you can tell they like hanging out together and they like throwing stuff at each other and sometimes literally throwing stuff at each other. But
Which I've done to him as well.
So my general experience is because of my reservedness and my resting jerk face and those kind of things, that people aren't often encouraged to really see through that. And my experience with Danae, the very first day I met her, was that she didn't care about those walls. Like that didn't mean anything to her. And she was playful with the things that like she would throw something back at me after I threw it with her. And it was immediately obvious that she knew how to play. And that is so important when you're looking for somebody to have conversation with, is they understand how to have fun with what you're talking about and are listening to what you're saying and then taking it and throwing the ball back to you in a fun way. They're not as concerned about the thing that they have to say.
Yeah.
They want to be part of something.
I just thought I was having conversation. Turns out.
Not everybody's good at that,
Turns out not
though.
everybody does that. Yeah.
Not everybody does that. And so yeah, I was very interested in seeing if that was something she wanted to do. So I think I connected with you pretty shortly thereafter and said, "Hey,
are you really wanting to do this?
Are you really wanting to do this? Because I'm going to start trying to move some pieces around on the inside and kind of float some things and see if that's something we can do." And then
of note, and I know I've talked about this before, so sorry if it's a broken record, just tying that into your topic today, Aaron, as far as jobs are, that job was really fun for me for a while, before it got kind of more serious and stuff. That's, the best job, worst job kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I did volunteer to go onto a morning show 5 days a week and do events and stuff for months and months and months before they even figured out how to put me onto the roster. So for those of you who are thinking about trying to shift from something that you're not enjoying to doing something that you might enjoy, you may have to volunteer for a little bit to kind of get your foot in the door. But that's kind of what opened up that whole career for me, was actually Aaron seeing something about me that I didn't even know was a thing. So that was kind of how we met. Thanks for that's a good question. That's fun.
Yeah, that was a great question. And I would back that up. The radio is the same with me too. I volunteered first, and then did. In fact, I volunteered in college as well, which you kind of do for your degree anyway. They call it internship. But then even after that, I would volunteer at a local radio station. And yeah, I think there is something about getting your foot in the door. And I believe me, I totally understand and empathize with the idea that everybody who does any kind of work should get paid a wage. I totally get that. But the system is the system, and you got to continue to do what you do and hope you can find your way in. So, but yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day. It changed my life the day you walked through the door.
Yeah,
Danae.
mine too. Yep. It's kind of one of those crazy things you look back on when you realize that everything changed at that point. Um, so yeah, crazy.
Danae, what was your main tune in WoW? It's World of Warcraft, I'm sure. And Aaron, are you going to review I'm Thinking of Ending Things on Netflix for Sif Pop? I'll start this one. Yes, I think we are going to review. That's Charlie Kaufman's new movie on Netflix. Probably this week we'll review that. Danae, what about your question there?
I was actually trying to go back through because I think I took a screenshot of my character since I haven't played her in so long. Her name was Aerie, and she was a Draenei. And I was trying to find a picture I could share because she's so cool.
So her legs look like bell-bottom jeans?
Which is how I knew that sin for Just Go With It so well. Because I played a Draenei character. Yeah, and she was a healer. I called her my battle healer. Oh, hey Aaron, I just found a picture of you surrounded in your Pixar paraphernalia. Should we show that?
Sure, go ahead. That's fine. This is probably the desk that you met me at.
Hold on, let me get it all
office,
set up.
Same desk, if it's the picture I'm thinking of. But yeah, Nick says, I was a dwarf Polly, Pally. I don't know what that means. Danae probably does. She played World of Warcraft.
A dwarf paladin.
Paladin, okay. And Skadara says a dwarf hunter.
Nice.
So,
my first character ever was a hunter, a troll hunter with a mohawk. Here,
Wow.
Okay, Aaron, I think I've got it popped up for you.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
So that was Aaron back at the radio station.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You took that picture, right?
Yeah, actually, we balanced all the Pixar stuff on your body.
So
for
this
an
is
Instagram photo.
basically this is me at work. This is how I would work if you walked by my office. This is what it would look like 90% of the time.
Yeah, for real.
So I think on this day, Danae came in and just started putting my Pixar pieces on me, and I just sat there while she did it, and she just placed them where she wanted them, and then I let her take the picture. So
I legitimately, my office was not an office. The only place that I could work was a seat next to a desk across from Aaron in this very tiny room. And that's where I sat and did all of my work for months before they figured out how to make room for us. So yeah, you just kind of have fun. You make it work. And if you find something you love to do, it doesn't hurt. So
yeah.
I love, I'm going to say Zalius. I hope I said that correctly. Not enough horde people around here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, not enough horde people. I'm with you.
For the horde.
For the horde.
I loved my horde character so much. Her name was Blaze, and she was so cool. Hunters are fun on World of Warcraft. Listen, I would love to play that game again if I ever have time. That'd be so much fun. Oh, and I also want to do a short shout out because my main tune that I ended up playing, which was Alliance, don't hate me, was a lore master. So I just want to brag a little bit about that.
Is that a big thing, being a lore master? Okay, fair enough.
It means you literally complete every quest.
Hate Ego says, how many
Not
speech habits
quest.
did you discover about yourself that you were not aware of after starting out in radio? Danae, how's that question for you? What did you discover? Because I know mine, but I've been dealing with these speech habits for decades, trying to
Same, and mine
get rid
change
of
over
them.
time.
Oh, of course, you
really,
trade them in. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely try to fill space with words. Silence is awkward, especially as you're trying to reach for a word and you feel that everyone is listening and you're live.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real chance that you're going to lean into some words. So yeah, I learned a lot about that. But you also can't. Aaron was great because you have program directors that come in and try to tell you, basically how to become a better show. And oftentimes those conversations are really, really personal. And especially for someone like myself who wasn't trained, like Aaron went to school to do broadcasting.
I did.
So
yeah.
So I think his expectations were a little different. For me, I just went in and wanted to talk on the radio and have a good time and go home. I didn't even think about it being a career. So suddenly people are talking about like how I should change as a person, but it's not as a person, it's as a show. And I really hadn't had a lot of time to figure out how those are the same but separate and really think about the show as a critical thing rather than a personal thing. So it's just been a very long journey. But yeah, hearing people say you say like too much and yeah, those filler words certainly are ones that once you hear it, it's really hard to unhear it. We just talked about it on our Behind the Scenes podcast that Aaron and I do for CinemaSins. I say when I'm finishing up a thought, as we reflect, the show is all about looking on the scripts that we're writing and the videos that we're putting out and producing. And so at the end, when I'm kind of completing my thought, I'll say, that was fun. I don't know when I started it. I don't know why, but now I cannot unhear it. I say it all the time. So then it's just trying to kind of
Yeah.
get out of there.
So
Get out of there.
Yeah, you're talking about two different kinds of verbal crutches. One is the filling space verbal crutch. The other is the transitional verbal crutch.
Yeah.
And you have both of those. We all have both of those. For me, is the crutch, the conversational crutch that I have to excise the most. And I'm trying to be more comfortable with thinking space, with just being able to take a few seconds, think of the right word and say it. It's not necessarily conducive to great conversation, but it is what it is. As far as transitional, mine is nice or good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Let's move on. No, you're
Yeah.
right. And that has to happen. There needs to be something that we say. But hearing it on the radio, thankfully, I don't think that there was ever any complaint. And like, just to kind of complete my thought there, Aaron was great for me too, because he would come in after a conversation, maybe with a PD, program director or something like that, and say, people relate to real people. They're not going to relate to Danae trying to limit everything I say to become this perfect radio version of what they want. You be you. If you want to work on a word, work on a word. And so Aaron would kind of come in, and essentially there came a point when I was like, Aaron, do I work for you or do I work for them? I don't know. And he's like,
It's a little
you
bit
work
of
for
both.
me. You work for
It's
me.
a little bit of both.
But it was really helpful because people do like to hear real people, and we mess up or we say things weirdly. And like, I was worried all the time about saying the wrong thing. He's like, but people do that in their real lives. And if you recover from saying a different word, like you meant to say green, but you said purple, and everyone knows that a frog is not purple. Like, what are you tripping or whatever? I'm just giving a weird example, but you know what I mean. If you say a word incorrectly, just go with it. Or when we would edit our podcast and you have an opportunity to actually completely take out a moment where you mess up. And you're like, oh, well, I can just take this out because they'll never know. See, I just said the word never weird, but I could have taken that out of a podcast, but that changes my humanity a little bit. And I really appreciated Aaron's perspective on that. So
I think it's important. I think it's important to just be real people. That's what we all connect to, is other real people. Yeah. And if you enjoy hanging out with us and talking with us in the morning, it's because you enjoy the real us. And as much as we can get as close to the real us as possible,
the better.
I think the better off we're going to be.
Join us on the porch, people. Come have some lemonade.
Just put the porch shades up first, so you don't get third-degree burns on our porch swing.
Our porch swing comes with SPF 100, which actually is a bunch of bullcrap, apparently.
Nick, you're so kind, says, Danae is 100% describing why I love listening to you guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Or
appreciate
woman
that.
named Nick. Or
Listen,
they. I don't
never
know.
assume. Never assume. Thank you for hanging out with us this Monday. As always, we will be around Mondays and some days. So just be subscribed to wherever is easiest
But never
and best.
Fridays.
Why did you throw that out there? You don't need to limit us. What happens if some Friday we want to do this?
No, there's that song there was like a weird version of a movie, like Alice in Wonderland movie, and the song was like, jam tomorrow, jam yesterday, but never ever jam today. And I always was super perplexed by that song because it was so weird.
It's like an old-timey kind of thing.
Oh, it was like a live action Alice in Wonderland. And there were these chess.
Oh, yeah.
There were these women that were like, I think they were chess players. And one
it
of
sounds
them was,
familiar to me, so I think I know what you're talking about.
one of them was like the White Queen. It was the one with like the Jabberwocky, and then there was like the baby that turned into a pig. It was so messed up. It was like a weird thing to watch as a kid. But the song was, jam tomorrow, jam yesterday, but never ever jam today. And so whenever you're like, we're live Mondays and some days, but never Fridays. I don't know.
We've talked about how Fridays are hard, but we don't. Who knows? Maybe we might come on Fridays. You never know.
We
We
never
might be on
know.
a Saturday
That's
morning.
true.
Who knows?
Ooh, no.
The point is,
Maybe.
no, weekends are for families. The point is that if you want to check out what's going on here, make sure you're subscribed, get the notifications, whether it's YouTube where we go live, whether it's Twitch, which several people are on this morning. Thank you for that. Make sure you follow there. You can't subscribe yet until we have 50 followers. I think that's how that works. And then
We're still
Twitter,
figuring all this out.
and then Twitter as well. If you follow us on Twitter, you will get a notification when we go live that way. And then there's this other social media place that we might go live to eventually. We are two members of Team DNA away from taking the show to the next level and being able to broadcast in high definition and go to several different places.
Is that me getting my own Twitch?
You getting your own Twitch,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
We talk about these things, and then I'm like, is that still the same thing? I don't know.
So if you don't know what Team DNA is, it's the membership at Patreon for what goes on here. You go to patreon.com/Studio DNA, and it's $5 a month. There's just one level, and it just supports us and what we do here and helps pay for this software. And again, to subscribe to the next level, we're only 2 members away. 2 members away from doing that. So
You guys are awesome. Thank you so
you.
much. It's fun hanging out. It's fun to be able to reinvent our show and do it like in this new way. We want to do this every single day, obviously, but just being able to consistently come to you guys at least once a week and check in is like, I don't know, it's my favorite way to start the week. It's really impacted me in a positive way to just to get to spend some time with you guys in the morning. So thank you for coming and hanging out. As you can see, scrolling on the bottom is all of our information. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagrams, and we'll see you some days. Oh, but before we go today, Aaron, my mom wanted me to razz you.
Oh, sweet. I'm always up for a good razzing. It's not a surprise that your mom wants to razz me. She razzes me a lot.
Because last week, she said when we were talking about Mondays and Sundays, she made a pun that you ignored in the chat.
Oh. Does she want to razz me? Or does she
Publicly shame you.
She wants to publicly shame me. Okay, I just
She just wants a solid shout out for her pun of Wednesdays.
It's great. It's a good pun. I totally missed it somehow.
Shame on you.
I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
Okay, Mom, you can go to bed peacefully now.
Is your mom going to bed at 9:58
it's morning.
in the morning?
Oh, crap.
Everything that Danae said, I just ditto it. Love you all, and we'll see you on the next Monday or someday.